first of all, hello to Andrew.
In some ways, yes.
In some ways, yes. Noah James, you play the role of Andrew on The Chosen. And you started right from the beginning, didn't you?
Yeah, right from the beginning. In fact, in some ways, I started even before the beginning. I auditioned for the short film that led into The Chosen. And so that was literally like I auditioned for that a year and a half before The Chosen. Didn't get it, thankfully, because then a year and a half later, The Chosen comes along and I get the audition. And now I've been on it for years. I would have been maybe 3 days on that short film.
Right.
And because I didn't get it, now here I am years and years later.
Is that the character you wanted, Andrew?
Yeah, well, I didn't even really. At first, you only get sort of sides, the audition sides.
Yeah, you don't see the big picture.
Yeah, you don't really have a lot of context. But then, and I feel like the way that Dallas ran a lot of the auditions for the disciples in that first season is we read through a lot of the Simon Peter scenes. So he essentially gave everyone the Simon Peter sides and then was sort of playing around with where people fit. And he even asked me in the first audition, he's like, so how do you feel about this, about Simon? And I said, I really like it, but I don't feel like I fit. I feel like you'll have a hard time casting the rest of these people. If I'm Simon, I just don't quite get the fit. He's like, yeah, I see that. And he was like, well, I want you in this show. I just don't know where yet, which I took with a grain of salt. Because sometimes, people will say, get ready to get on a plane to New York tomorrow, and then you never hear again. So,
but it's not like you were auditioning for Jesus, and it's like, sorry, you're Andrew.
No, I was not. And then I did get the script, and I read through it, and I really did connect with Andrew. So by the final audition, he had mentioned he was thinking about Andrew,
right?
And I think I expressed that would be great. I was like, ooh, I do like Andrew.
And how many auditions was it?
It was 3 auditions total. And even by the third one, I went in and he was like, you may not want to hear this, but I don't even know that we need to do this audition right now. I want you on the show. I just don't exactly know where.
Right.
But I did it anyway. I was like, I'll fight for anything I can.
So technically you're the first disciple. Does that make you the lead?
It makes me the best.
I
don't know about the lead, but it does make me Andrew the Great, as I affectionately call him.
Right. You live in L.A.
I do.
Most of the film of the show, it's filmed in Texas, am I right?
Yes, Texas and Utah.
Yeah, Utah, I heard there's the replica of the ancient Jerusalem there.
Yes.
Which is kind of cool. That'd be nice to check out as a tourist one day or something.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
You really do feel like you are there.
Yeah.
It is built up. And it's not, generally on a film set, if you turn the camera, 30 degrees in any direction, you would see
the gas station.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is not that case. You really do feel like you're in a mini city.
Right.
And Utah is maybe the most beautiful place in all of the United States. So that's all of these sweeping vistas you see on the show. That is not Texas. That is Utah.
So what's it like on set? Like what is the process during the day? Because you hear, and I have some actor friends, and you hear about these grueling hours where it's early in the morning till late at night. But a lot of the times you're not necessarily filming because it's not your scene, so you're twiddling your thumbs, having coffee with the other disciples or something like that. Like what's it typically like for you?
There's definitely some of that. Like when there's downtime, me and George, who plays John, we will play some card games together. We were always playing our Nintendo Switches. You're just trying to manage the downtime,
right? Because
there is a lot of downtime, but sometimes the difficulty is if the scene asks a lot of you, if it's an emotionally heightened scene, maybe you're going to be going through that all day. So you're talking about essentially 12 hours, and you want to have a piece of that alive in you throughout the day. Not that you are just in it for 12 hours, because that's part of the job of a TV or film shoot is you have to figure out when to let off the gas. Otherwise, you'll run out of steam, 4 hours into the shoot. So you really have to, on a really tough day, you kind of leave, you maybe go eat lunch by yourself in your little bungalow or trailer, and you just sort of keep that alive, keep the flame burning, if you will. And then you show up, and they might be changing lights for an hour. And so it's difficult, but it's necessary.
You kind of need to keep that frame of mind and continue filming as well, because it's hard to replicate that same scenario and that same feeling the next day.
Yeah, I mean, we have sequences in season 5 that it was about 16 pages, so generally that will come out to about 16 minutes. But that took us 3 days straight to film. So you are listening to and saying the exact same things for 3 days, all day, 12-hour days. And so that can be a little grueling, but you just kind of set yourself up knowing, okay, I got to take care of myself here. When the camera's off, I got to go chill, take care of it, because it will just be over and over and over again. And the same thing, like, let's say with that particular scene, we would watch, Jesus had so much to do in that scene, and us, the disciples, were really just taking it all in. And you want to make sure you're listening sort of innocently and for the first time, but after 3 days, it gets hard. And so that enters into the arithmetic of how to, handle those long days.
And the facial expressions, because Jesus might be talking, but you might be on the camera. There's that too, right?
Yeah, we don't generally think of it as like, what is my face doing in this moment? But yeah, about trying to make sure that we're very present,
yes,
and that it feels as if we really are hearing it for the first time, and that we're going through whatever, and that can change take to take even. But the most important thing is just really being present and really listening, so that the performance can sort of be elicited from that listening.
So let's get into a little technical question before we get into season 5.
Great.
Here. So I assume that beards are mandatory for the disciples?
Did I just get a text message yesterday from the head of makeup? Yes, making sure that my beard will be ready by the start date.
And consistency too. Like, you have to make sure that your beard remains the same length, not right?
Well,
you have to do some regular trimming to make sure it's the same length.
But that is not up to me. I get to be a little bit of I walk in a little bit of the diva actor, all of us, where we just sit in the makeup
so
chair.
You let it grow, and then they can do the trimming.
They take care of it.
Oh, that's
they
nice.
don't trust us to keep the continuity.
That's quite
of
nice.
Hair or beard.
Yeah.
They are doing that always. Yeah, it is nice. You just kind of sit. You let the morning wash over you.
Where's my coffee?
Yeah, exactly.
Good stuff. So I guess we've got season 5 just beginning. Now, believe it or not, I do have a rough idea about the storyline.
Well, how?
I read about it somewhere. Yeah. And I understand we're heading towards the Last Supper. Now, how well do you get along with Judas? Because I'm a little uneasy about him. He kind of looks a little sketchy,
I'm going to be honest. That was quite painful to shoot, because I love Luke, and Luke and I are very close, and we all are close. It is a family, and at a certain point, that family fractures. And to get to the point when you realize we will never all, it changes. Things change. Like, Are we ever going to be together again in the way we were in season 3, in season 4? Once you get to that point, just as a human being, personally, you go, oh, I'm going to miss that time where we all get to be sort of naive in that way together. And so it was painful. There was a moment, I don't think it's a spoiler, because we know, that we are dealing with the Last Supper, and we know what happens during the Last Supper. But there was a moment where we all kind of realized that things are different, and it will never go back to the way it was before. And that's just, it is what it is. But I love Luke, and Luke, had no betrayal there to us. But yeah, it is. It blends. It bleeds into real life because we all really do love each other.
Yeah, I suppose what you're doing is you are reliving historical events, and so what you're feeling now with Luke or Judas in this case is what actually happened. So there is that fracture. There is that feeling of loss because he's gone now.
Well, that what you just said is so important to us, and I'll just speak for myself. It's so important to do justice by the story and to really try to live it out fully and truthfully, because not even just in this story, but for anyone who's experienced a betrayal at that level, which is quite difficult. I mean, that is as high a betrayal as you can get. We really want to make sure that that feels as real as possible and that we go through that together so that we're not, like there's a saying, you never want to play at being hungry in front of the truly starving in terms of as an actor. It's a difficult thing. You want to bring a sense of reality to it because otherwise it's almost, not only is it disingenuous, it's like rude. It's rude to be playing at it. And so that's what I think The Chosen does so well. For years, we have been with the disciples on this journey. And so we want it. We want that moment. We want the betrayal to really hit. And hopefully we did that.
As far as reality is concerned, I know you've been involved in a little behind-the-scenes look at The Chosen as well, kind of like a reality television thing with unscripted, this physical endurance type stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, I think you are referring a little bit to an experience I had with the one and only Bear Grylls.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a mystery. That will be a little later down the road, but I can say I filmed it.
Yeah.
I did go on an adventure with Bear Grylls. It was as wild, no pun intended, as you could imagine. I could not believe I was doing the things that he was having me do. It was humbling. It was pretty freaky.
Did you offer to do this, or you got asked to?
I was like, please put me in, coach.
Yeah.
Because it just was a dream come true. I grew up watching him, and he is the real deal. By the way, man, I mean, he is like one of a kind, and he loves people. So at the end of it all, yes, we are on this like crazy adventure, but he really does want to get to know you as a human being. And we talked about The Chosen. We talked about spirituality, we just got very deep there, in the shadow of a canyon. Yeah, it was very special. That will be that comes out a little bit later. We're not quite sure when, but when it does, I highly recommend going on that adventure with us.
That's kind of like another mini offshoot series or something like that, I guess. Yeah. The nice thing about The Chosen, in my opinion anyways, and I'm not, a director or anything like that, but I would assume the higher ups in this whole The Chosen organization have probably thought of, subsequent spin-off, potentials down the road. I mean, can you imagine a season dedicated to each of the disciples later on?
Hey, that would be pretty cool.
But
I will say that what was announced is that if all goes according to plan, a few years after we finish The Chosen, they would like to start to tackle the Book of Acts. And
so basically doing exactly that, except
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know quite how in depth. I think it would, I don't know that we all get our own season even, but just to follow the disciples and the early church, which is a fascinating period. And honestly, I'm shocked that TV show has not happened yet.
Right.
So I'm so excited that we get to continue this story.
Do you think they would ever go beyond the Acts? Like out of the Bible and now deal with some of the future great men and women of the faith that...
Oh, I mean, yeah, great question. I don't know, but I do know that 5 and 2 Studios and Dallas are really interested in telling these stories. And Dallas has made it his life these past few years. And I know how much it means to him and it means to this this group of amazing artists and producers. So it would not surprise me in the least. They really live and breathe these stories. And while we're there shooting The Chosen, I mean, we all know this story is bigger than all of us. And we just do our best, like through blood, sweat, and tears, quite literally, to just bring it to life.
Well, it's been 5 seasons, and we're at the Last Supper. I mean, how many more seasons? How many more seasons are there going to be?
There are planned to be 7.
It's only 7.
Yeah.
See, I thought if we're at the Last Supper, there'd be lots more.
No, yeah, we're getting close to the final kind of moments.
Right. And what does that mean for you? Because this has been steady employment for you for the last little bit.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Well, it's listen, part of being an actor is you just get comfortable with the discomfort. And part of that is knowing that things are not set in stone. And I have loved my time with The Chosen. I mean, absolutely, I will be forever grateful for it. And then you just go, I guess, what is the next? But Andrew will always be a part of me. The Chosen will always be a part of me.
Do you think you would be typecast as Andrew?
I don't know how that's would be possible. Maybe, I mean, just it's so
well, the
specific.
The hair, the beard, the
Listen,
you know, that type of character, that type of role in a movie or a show.
When we finish filming season 7, there will be a haircut. Okay, there will be a trimming of this hair. There's almost like a hair length creep each season where it gets longer and longer. And I'm like, please let it get. And at one point in season 4, there was sort of a time jump, not a major one, but a few months. And some disciples got haircuts. And for me, they're like, we're going to put it in a full ponytail to show it's gotten even longer. I'm like, no, let me cut it. Let me cut the beard. But no, I guess it's just my lot in this show's life to just continue growing the hair. But definitely, I'm thinking maybe like a wolf cut at the end. Something, I had to do something drastic and weird. When I was 21, on my 21st birthday, I dyed my hair like neon blue. Okay, because I knew I'm entering into the acting world. I'm about to graduate. When will I be able to do this again? You kind of have to look like your headshot. You always have to, your look sometimes is not your own, which is a little odd. So definitely when we finish filming, I will take ownership again of my look, even if briefly.
Maybe it's a group thing. Maybe it's all the disciples getting together at the wrap-up party for this haircut and whatever else.
Yeah, but some of them almost have normal hair. Yeah. Like, you know, you look at it and I'm like, is that a fade I see? What's happening here? Very slight. And I'm like, you know, full on a year's worth of hair going on. But I do like it. It's fun, but it can be a little unruly with the curliness. It will be time for
it's the look, though. It's the look you need. So.
It's the look you need. And you know, Andrew was following John the Baptist before. It makes sense that Andrew would have longer hair and have maybe a longer beard. But me, Noah, I will be ready because I've been ready for like a year and a half.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Listen, Noah, thanks for dropping by to chat. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. And I just want to say we are so excited to be here in Canada right now. We're excited. The show comes out in theaters March 28th across all of Canada. We're super excited for you all to see it with us. Comes out same time in America, so we'll all be enjoying it and experiencing it all together. So thank you so much for having us.